to some points that Kennedy made. And my man here, the original is by Booker T, Jones, and the MGs. But I suspect that if you look at the label of Palmer, it's likely to be that reggae thing where they claim ownership of the songwriting. I doubt if they would have had the proper credit. Because it's a cover. You can make it reggae, but it's still a cover, so the original composer should have been credited. But I have a feeling that that wasn't quite what happened. So that's something to remember. Death Star Palmer Records.
She doesn't want me to lie. She's got something to hide. I think she wants someone to get right. But I keep telling her I'm too experienced to be taking all wrong. Someone to rock and roll. I'm too experienced to be taking all right. And I know it's not my foolish pride.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I've got something from the old Just something from Trojan. But as I said, there's no free lunch. So I guess that's the question. I hope it's an easy one that we can get through this very quickly. But please don't shout out there. So just raise your hand if you think that way. What year was the current Trojan formed? Oh my goodness. Am I in a room full of people who into reggae? No, I think I'm in the wrong place. Considering what I said as well. No. You guys are missing. I said, don't give the answer. If you're interested, raise your hand and I know who's going for it. I'm happy to take the CDs back if you're not making an effort. Okay, first of all, him, if he gets it wrong, now go to you.
1967.
You see, because I'm a stickler, not 67, but thank you.
There's a lady here.
No, there's a lady at the back. Quickly.
68.
Because what I said was, you are right for the original one, but the one that these guys run say 68. So 68. There you go.
Let's make a film of that.
I didn't even know the
Yes.
And then the reform.
No, but they're getting the same access. It's the same access.
It's the same access.
Yes.
It's really 75, 76.
No. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yeah. Anyway, okay, fair enough. It's being technical there. So, quickly, because I'm mindful of time. Okay, where in which borough in Brent claims to be the reggae capital of England and the UK? This lady was first.
I'm guessing because I'm not from Brent. Halsden?
I'm very particular. I said which borough in England claims to be Halsden is not the borough.
Yeah, I know. You missed it. It's the best borough in
Okay, now this is an easy one. Especially people who've never been to Halsden, since you mentioned Halsden. Can you tell me a reggae shop that used to be Halsden? I'll give you a chance. It's so desperate to get this CD. You better be correct. It can be, used to be, or still. Okay.
Well done.
I just play a couple more that we done for this session. I'm looking for something by Trojan. Okay. Trojan has got a film come now called Rude Boy. Do you know when it's supposed to come out, Max? Max. When? Do you know when it's supposed to come out? Oh, so they don't know when it's supposed to come out. But you guys have got a 50th anniversary, like club scene or something like that. Campton Town or something like that. Where is it?
What, an event?
Yeah.
No, we're not. It's not the camera.
Oh, okay. I thought you guys were doing a club scene. I thought, oh, okay. Okay, so this is a trailer of a film called Rudy's, the story of Trojan, which will be coming out soon. So.
Sound, system, Jamaica, Great Britain, independence, immigration, integration, rocksteady, rude boy, reggae, skinny, Trojan.
Come to England, I thought I'm going to have a better life at that time. And it was worse.
In this country, in 15 or 20 years' time, a black man will have the whip hand over the white man.
Music was the thing that did give you a lift each day.
Sit it up, mister!
Jamaica music was what keep us going.
Hear what I say, sir,
I got a phone call from the doctor and he said, come and see me, I'm starting up something. When he looked at me, I looked upon him. And somehow he said, Trojan, because you breed the Trojan. They were the rude boys. They were sensible loving. Trojan Trojan yes.
To me 2 times.
Okay, so that's Rudy to look out for. By the way, whilst I'm getting the next one, I've got a quiz question, and I'll nominate President to sort it out in terms of who is answering. We're looking at reggae at 50. Which artist, so please don't shout out, raise your hand and let Kennedy ask you if it's right. Which artist is reputed to have used the term reggae for the first time in the song? No, Kennedy, deal with it.
You need to be at the front, innit?
I'm sorry, but I got to talk with my legs, you know what I'm saying? No, Max, you got something. Okay. Not that's not what it is. Next one. Okay. I will relent here because
I know the answer.
he is right, although, yeah, he's right. So I relent. Yes, so seven people.
When you're doing the women in reggae.
That's what he says, of course. Right, so can you make sure that can you get a women together? Yeah, he's got on the chair. So it's the next one. Okay, Tooth and the Metals. Tooth and the Metals were supposed to have used reggae in the first song. That is what we know. Yeah, that's why I'm using the word. That's why I'm using suppose. So we can have an argument, but maybe not today. But call it your friend, yeah? Now correct the ladies. First of all, Audrey Scott. Can you give her a round of applause? So you're not going to hear from me this session, it's the ladies. But well, don't worry about that, let him sort it out. Okay, no. You know me, I'm bossy. Yes, this lady, I met her a couple of weeks ago and I was describing her to someone as a reggae person. And, you know, she corrected me and said, love is rock. And I respect that. I respect that because, you know, we claim that that love is rock came from here. And she stand out for the love story. Just like me, the young people may not say hip hop and they might say grime. So I appreciate that. And if you don't know about her, these days you don't even have to pay to hear the music. And I'm sure you can go to Spotify, YouTube, and you hear Audrey Scott. Audrey Scott is going to facilitate this session with the ladies because we're looking at women in reggae, right? So we've got, where's Celine? And where?
Well, I was going to introduce them.
Okay. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Indeed. I'm happy for that.
All right. Good afternoon or good evening, people, depending on the time of day and when you woke up. My name is Audrey Scott, like he said, and I'm a lovers rock singer. I started in 1977 and the first label I worked with was Neville King label. And we did a song called The Day Will Come. Needless to say, payday never did come. But that's how it was. We were very young at the time, so we didn't know about the business, you know, we just enjoyed singing and they said, come to studio, and we went to studio and that was it. There was 3 girls, Janet, Audrey, and a sister called Veronica who left after the first record. I don't think her boyfriend liked her singing. And so, you know, we were left to do. And so it was 2. And then I did Goodbye My Love, which was, all the songs, by the way, were written by a brother named Fish. Noel Salmon is a keyboard player. And I think he's played on a lot of lovers rock songs. So, yeah, as a youth, it wasn't easy. But then we didn't find out really until like later on. We were just having fun. But we soon found out that things weren't fair. So with me today, I shall introduce Celine Braithwaite, who does Britain's Got Reggae. She's another woman in the reggae business. Celine. Greetings, my sister. I'd like you to tell the people what it is you do, because although we've come for a hard time, I think now with women, us older women in reggae, the younger women find us quite approachable, so, which is good because we did go for a hard time with the men. And you know, I was feisty, that's why nobody never seen me, because I was feisty, nobody never wanted to record with me. So hence, there's not many Sidonians records. But you know, there are some of us still around and not, who went through a real difficult time. So it wasn't easy, but we're older and wiser now, and we can guide the younger generation. Here we have Celine.
Hello, good evening, good afternoon everybody. My name's Celine Braithwaite. I'm the founder of City Link Up, which is a multi-genre showcase where I work with artists of all genres, showcasing them. I have that showcase in Camden. We've been running 5 years now. And 3 years ago I started Britain's Got Reggae. We're in our 3rd series. We're about to have our semi-finals on the 26th of July at Hootenanny. And really the aim of it is to uplift and to support the reggae industry in the UK, as I feel that like the mainstream radio stations, the TV, I don't think they're supporting the reggae. And a lot of what I noticed is a lot of artists were steering away from the reggae genre, going to other genres of music because there's no platforms or any outlets for them with the reggae. So that's why Britain's Got Reggae came along, basically, to support the artists and give them a platform.
That's great. Do you want to give them, like, where did you start from before Britain's Got Reggae?
City Link Up. City Link Up, there's a bit of story behind it. Previously, before that, I worked with offenders and ex-offenders, getting them employment, teaching, assessing. They went through a qualification. I had a car crash leaving Leicester, where I'm originally from, coming home to London to go work the next day. I had the car crash, which totally changed my life and sort of brought me into the music. I wasn't well for a long time. They took 4 years to diagnose me with post-traumatic stress disorder from the accident, and I was in a really bad place. But during that journey, I thought I'm going to do music. I found myself surrounded by musicians, artists in Leicester. Everyone I know is a singer or an artist, but I noticed there's nowhere to go and see them perform or to go and showcase their talent. And it's the same with all the cities around Leicester, because Leicester's in the city. You've got Nottingham, you've got Derby, you've got all these little cities. So I came up with the name City Link Up, and that was the idea for artists to come from these cities once a month to showcase their talent and to network and to support each other. And I found that worked really well. And my dream then was to be in Camden. That was my dream in 2013. I found myself in Camden October 2014, and I've been there since. So I know to make my dreams bigger now, because I thought that came a bit quick. And then how Britain's Got Reggae came along. I spoke to Cecil Rubin, because I'm from Leicester, and what I noticed, a lot of people from the Midlands and afar don't really into reggae, don't really get opportunities in London, or they're not really heard of. It's, you know, so that's what my aim was. So I said, Cecil, can I put on something at Hootenanny? And he said yes. So I got my date, I came up with the name Britain's Got Reggae. I was inundated with emails. So what I did is I picked 6 people geographically from different areas of the UK. And we just run it like I run the City Link Up show. So I have the City Link Up banner, my t-shirts, and we just run it like we run the Camden show. Cecil loved what we did. He loved the artists I showcased because he hadn't seen any of them before or heard of them, and they were really talented. And he says, can you do more shows? So I said yes. So he said, can you do once a month? I thought yes. And he gave me, the next date from the January was the April, and then July to December. So between the January and the April, I came up with the concept of the competition. I thought I'm just going to run it as a competition. So the first year we just wanted Heat 1. I just advertised for people to take part in Heat 1, Heat 2, and so on and so forth. The second year a bit more organised. This year we're trying to get a bit more organised. So the second year we're doing auditions in Bristol, Manchester, Leeds, and Birmingham, because we're really trying to reach out to artists all over. This year I'm just trying to cement it up a bit better now. It's been difficult because I am running it unfunded, off my own back. I'm running purely off passion and adrenaline for this, because like I said, I don't get paid. It's not easy. I don't know how I managed to get it so far and so big, but like I say, by the grace of God, you know, it's my strength. It's been, you know, carrying me through. It's the passion that I've got. So, is there anything else?
Thank you very much. Sterling Braithwaite. Yeah, you can certainly, if you'd like to take a seat. Somebody might ask you a question. But before, yeah, you can ask her now, but I actually wanted to introduce a group before we do Q&A. Is that right? Okay, then give thanks. So the next set of musicians are True Identity. 3 beautiful queens. Come forward. Greetings, my sisters. So I have got a selection of questions. Ladies. Actually. Do you want to come up here? Come in the middle. I'll stay at the end here. If you prefer to stand up, because you can sit in. Sorry about this, guys. Do it for the love, you know, do it for the love. Yeah. Okay. So, well, first of all, introduce yourselves, please.
Okay. I'm Pam or Pamela. Thank you.
Hi, good evening everyone. Good evening everyone. I am Pam of True Identity. I have with me my other two sisters. This is Jo and
Hello.
Rowena. Ro.
Greetings.
Jo and Rowena are two sisters. Okay, we actually grew up in the same neighborhood, went to the same secondary school, and we shared the love of reggae music, which we still do as of today, many, many years on.
Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give you the mic so that you can tell. Yes, please.
Okay.
So, so as Pamela said, you know, Ro and I are sisters and Pamela's our adopted sister. So we all grew up together. We actually lived around the corner from each other. And our musical journey started back in the 80s, actually, early 80s. We were little tots then, as you can imagine. And actually, when we started, there was only 4 members of us. It was myself, Pamela and Rowena were the original. And a cousin of ours called Wayne, he's a dub creator. It quickly, you know, we quickly moved on, and it was actually a 7-piece band in the end, with the likes of Dennis Cross was in there, Billy Cross, so the Cross Brothers, and also, I don't know if many of you know this, but our bass player at the time was a guy called Andrew Roachford. Now Andrew went on to do, you know, things with international artists. Right now he's working with Mike and the Mechanics, so very renowned, you know, and actually, you know, that's kind of where we came from. So we rehearsed religiously, and it was like our little rave.
Yeah, definitely it was our rave. We prided ourselves mainly performing live. Live was it. It wasn't PAs. PAs didn't occur in the 1980s. It was all about doing live music. And we, up till this day, govern ourselves on the 3 Ps, which is practice, polish, and then perfect what we're doing. So we were very much on that. During our youth, we became quite political, believe it or not, and we were in amongst the Brixton riots.
Yes,
yeah, my
very
sister
much.
and I. So we brought actually some of that experience into the music. So having experienced the riots in Brixton, we actually left the riots, my sister and I, very naughty, and wrote a song called Babylon a Run, out of Brixton town. So it was our experience in seeing black and white unite against Babylon at that time, bringing that to the music. As I said, we became political, and the Young Socialist Party, which is the far left of the Labour, invited us to come along and represent for the youth, because as youth we were black, we were unemployed, we were on YTS schemes and all these things. And so they said, come along, represent us, become our sponsors, and we actually did an interview, actually, back in 1981. There's a big spread, which we have the newspaper clipping right here and now. And here's the spread.
We have changed since then.
The afros.
No, the afros. So this interview with the Young Socialist Party took us to perform for the Labour Party, in which Tony Benn himself witnessed True Identity performing back in the 80s. Okay.
Right, I don't know if any of you maybe took over from the resident group, Cool Notes.
Anybody remember them?
Yes. Cool Notes, yeah. And they actually classed us as 15, 16, 17 at that time, because we were at that age group. So that's what we were actually referred to as 15, 16, 17.
But you
No, they actually referred to us because of our ages. No, we are and always will be True Identity. But yeah, so we're still performing there today, even at the Hootenanny with Cecil Rubin. So it's been a long journey.
Back then, you know, we were doing lots and lots of rehearsals, but we wanted to really do some recording. And as a 7-piece band, the very first single, actually the only single that we recorded with the band, was a double A side called All in Me, which was a Lovers tune, and on the other side was a tune which was sung by Dennis Cross actually called Splash Split. The difference with True Identity back in that time was that we all sang. All the musicians sang. You know, it wasn't just us three ladies up here. We sang different genres. You know, Andrew, as you know, he's got an incredible voice. He sang, wrote songs, and it was just, you know, a melting pot of talent at that time. You know, yeah. So the first recording was All in Me.
Yeah, and just going through our little live shows we were doing. We weren't lovers rock, or we didn't pigeon ourselves into lovers rock. The band was playing roots music as well, and we're still kind of representing on the lovers rock on the roots side. But going back to that, we developed quite a tight harmony even back then as teenagers. And Tony Williams, God rest his soul, was one of our first background vocal jobs. Tony Williams had a mobile recording studio, and he was recording Glenn Slowly at the time, yeah. And we did a track with Glenn Slowly as background vocalist for Tony called Hello Good Looking. Hello Good Looking, so that's True Identity in the background. And it's really ironic that years later we went on to record with Andrew. Andrew Slowly's in the audience, bless. We recorded Is There Any Justice in the World? Yeah, which is a Lamar cover. Following on from our recordings, we did some background vocals for a very live first artist, Jamaican artist, you'll know by the name of Pat Kelly. So we worked with Pat Kelly in the 1980s when he was doing a UK tour for a promoter at the time called Larry Lawrence. Again, he's passed on. And actually, that was our first experience of actually not being paid. So we had no manager, no representative. We represented ourselves. We're pretty powerful between us, but we didn't get paid. So following on from that and other various things, we had a natural break through the 90s.
Yeah. You know, you talk about the lovers rock and the reggae. What I will say to that is, when I went to the studio, yeah, we went to do reggae music, because that's what it was, isn't it? I said, yes, I want to sing some reggae. Went to the studio, and then we were called, I don't know where that came about, the lovers rock. So all of a sudden I was a lovers rock singer. Maybe it's because I was British, and it was a lovers song. I have no idea. But we never went to the studio saying, I'm going to sing a lovers rock song, because it wasn't even heard of. We were going to sing reggae. They gave us that title. So there was no differentiation. The Sidonians, if we'd have stayed together, because we was actually recording a roots track, right? So we never come out as to be necessary. We just wanted to be singers. So the fourth track was going to be a roots track, which I'm so sorry it wasn't done. So I got pigeonholed. Not that I mind, because you know people know me now, innit? So hey, yeah. So. Did you want to say something else? Yeah. Have we got time, Quaker? I saw you were touching your...
A couple of minutes.
You got what? A couple of minutes. Okay. All right, so that you...
Yeah.
Give us your highlights.
Anyway. So, our highlights. So, we reformed, you know, early part of 2000, the noughties. And really it was like a prosperity thing for us. We wanted to capture what we had done previously and really just to make a recording for keepsake, really. So we recorded a 10-track album, but only for our ears. We never released that. We met up again, you know, we started getting back on the circuit. We started to do lots of PAs for like charitable organisations and things. And we actually linked up again with CB Multimedia. And you know, he kind of galvanized us and helped us to start saying, no man, you must do something more. No, you can't. So we really started to, you know, explore that again. And we met up again with Cecil Rubin, who we'd known from childhood days, because he lived in the same area as us, you know. Brixton.
We're Brixton, yeah.
So yeah, as Joanne said, we linked up again with Cecil Rubin. We had and doing the charitable work for Oxjam and various other organisations. We were spotted and invited to do 12 Tribes of Judah's, Dennis Brown and Bob Marley's celebration at the Hootenanny.
Yes, this is before Cecil Rubin became the Hootenanny resident, so it was 12 tribes. He hadn't taken over the residency there in terms of...
Yeah, so Cecil Rubin, we met up with, he put on the show at Hootenanny, and we performed there. It was only after that, which was in 2009, early 2009, that Cecil then began to start taking up residency at Hootenanny. And we became one of the first artists there. Highlights being Western Consciousness in Jamaica.
Yes, we got an opportunity to, we actually had an opportunity to perform quite extensively for the Jamaican High Commission. They've always invited us to lots of their events, you know, and quite recently we went to, we performed for the Prime Minister of Jamaica. Out of that, we got invited to do a concert in Montego Bay, Western Consciousness. So we went out there and we did that, and you know, it's kind of blossomed from there. So we've done quite a number of festivals. Rotterdam in Spain, you know, and Santa Pod, racing track, you know, and scarf festivals and roots festivals and all different genres.
Yeah, and just to say also what's happening today with True Identity, we are recording a tribute album. And just to let you know also, we've actually been approached by The Voice twice to perform on their shows, which we've turned down, and recently the X Factor. Don't want to do that. We support Britain's Got Reggae. Right here, so. Right here, right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Round of applause.
Thank you very much, women. My queens. Excuse me a moment, please. Okay. I just want to read something, because the film, a documentary was done on women in reggae by Yaz Alexander. I think she's run out of money, so I think she needs help. I think it's, but there's a poem that she left. It's only a little thing here, by Maya Angelou. We delight in the beauty of the butterfly, but rarely admit the change it has gone through to achieve that beauty. So all the struggles and strife and everything that we come through, we're now butterflies, aren't we, girls? From caterpillar to butterfly. Give thanks, everyone. Sally, thank you, Sarah.
He was rushing us.
Yeah. We're still on that time.
Okay.
Right. So whilst the phone is going to show a little bit, you can go online anyway. So
we do have as much to say as the male.
You do, but time, we have to manage time as best as we can.
This is the film.
It's the film.
That's too funny.
Everything in life you can be sure of. Like when the rain comes pouring down, you say, why me? When you try to get yourself and if it don't work out, you say, why me?
Everyone has their views and everyone's thinking of what's going on. Everyone's saying stuff. They're saying stuff among themselves, they're saying it in the bedroom, they're saying it in the dance, but it's actually not being said out there. Because I tell you something, there's times when I can't express it, I can't cry, but I can express it in a song. I can let out, that's my release. And the best thing ever, the best thing about this gift is when you give and you receive, especially on a live show, you're giving the audience something and you get a response back, they give it back to you. I call that the boomerang effect. I will never give that up for anything.
Okay, that is a trailer of Women in Reggae, and I wanted to honor, yes, Alexander, because the flag to be here, she's been feeling poorly, she's not ready, but I'm sure when she is, we'll get her down to London. She lives in Birmingham. They haven't finished this film. In fact, this film started as an academic exercise, but I think since we don't document ourselves enough, we owe it to make sure that they can complete this film for us to see the full thing, yeah? So what I'm going to do at this section, I'm going to play one trailer by children, and we're going to work for children. Luckily, someone from BMG has come here to collect it, which is Max, yeah? Thank you very much. So Max, can you make your way whilst I load up your reggae? And it doesn't help when I don't have my glasses. So I'm struggling, I don't have business. Yeah. Oh, no, it was on the other side. This is one. There we go. So.
Connection to treasure, that's in my DNA. I mean, it's how I really came to reggae.
I wouldn't be DJing today or producing music today if it wasn't for those old records.
I am the dub, I am the love, and I am the club.
Trojan must have changed a lot of people's lives. And I'm not just talking about the baby making, I'm talking about that platform to be an artist or to be chosen to be on Trojan.
So that is it. That is it. So, I have my head on. What do I do with that? The certificate. Oh my goodness. Okay, Popsy, can you come whilst we're doing this? Popsy, please come. Oh, not Popsy. Mikey, the one that was looking at me land. Mikey, please come over. Tony is done his bit. Tony is done his bit, so it's now for you. Me? Yes. What do I? Okay, please tell them a little bit about yourself, because this guy has got so much history. I look at credits, and either he's the sound engineer or he produced the. Oh, by the way, okay, this guy is called Mikey or Michael Campbell. Everybody know of him? Yes. Okay, but what I have to say, please do not confuse him with the Jamaican Michael Campbell. So we know that this is a UK-based one, and you've heard of him. Good. I look at credits, films.
Jamaica.
What did I understand that, but right now we see as British. Maybe I don't know if you found the Commonwealth and Winra scandal, but yes. Yeah. So you got a British passport. Can you show?
I want to tell you the story behind that one. For years, I never had one. Jamaica. When Jamaica became independent,
yes,
I decided I wanted a Jamaican passport.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you can have both.
Well, I was on about 5 years ago, I get a Jamaican
British passport. Okay. Yeah. So now the Commonwealth, but I don't call it the Jamaican scandal, because the Winra scandal, because that focuses on the Caribbean, but it's not about the Caribbean. It's about the whole of the Commonwealth, and not just the so-called new Commonwealth, but also the old Commonwealth. So people from Australia, Canada are affected. So we think it's just an African thing. It affects us all. So I call it the Commonwealth and Winra scandal. No. But anyway, no, let's not have that discussion here. We have another time.
One thing I got to know.
Yeah.
Wealth is not common.
Yeah. But that is a misnomer. We don't say
if wealth was common, everybody would have it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I don't know how much he wants to say about himself, but I have to tell that this guy is multi-talented. Engineer, producer, label owner. These were the guys that had Aswad, if you don't know. Right? Simba Records. At one time, I think they had an office on Harrow Road when the money was rolling in.
Music.
Yeah, that was Grove Music when the money was rolling in. So, since you know that, although I claim Brent, there was a lot of reggae action in Labrador. I met Linton Kwesi Johnson in Labrador. That was what's happening. Although Darrell Washington, for example, lived in Brent, I met him in Labrador. So that you walk around and you see all these musicians. So that's Mikey Campbell. But let me finish with this guy now. Because the video just watched, stay there, my brother. The video just watched was highlighting children at 50. So we got a certificate for children, trade basis award. And it says that this certificate is proudly presented to Trojan Records. IRD honors Trojan Records on the milestone of its 50th anniversary in recognition of the vital role it has played in promoting the best of Jamaican music in the UK and worldwide.
Crackle, can we have it by the banner?
Yeah, so we out of the line here. So,
in the banner, by the banner.
Actually, Michael, can you tell them a little bit about yourself whilst we're doing this? Tell them a bit about yourself. Can we listen to Mikey, please? Anything at all.
My name is Michael Campbell, that's it.
Yes.
Microphone. And okay. Basically, I'm getting into the business. First thing I did was work for Trojan Records. Yeah, that was the very first thing I did. I worked for Trojan Records when I was about 17, 18. You know, getting at the studio a bit, that's all.
Microphone.
Yeah, microphone.
Okay. Microphone, yes, look. One, two, yes, okay. Yes, I
yeah.
think it marks.
Yeah, so, 17, 18, I started working at Trojan Records. First, it was Trojan Records, stroke, Music City. Because we had, at that time, we had 32 record shops around London. Just London alone. Right now you can't find 5. You understand? Yeah. But anyway, that was the A&R department, the record shop. Because through the record shops, we had all the pre-releases, and that was how we get to decide what records to put out. You know, you know, it was interesting. It was interesting. You know, and start recording at Shark Farm with Vic Carey, the English brother named Vic Carey, and Sidney Buckner. Anybody know about Sidney Buckner?
Engineer. Yes.
All right.
Engineer, producer.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the first I start trouble the board, you know. And then I also happen to live in Ladbroke Road, in front of Basin Street Studio, you know. And I met Bob Marley on the road one time, because I'm dad with some urban. Yeah. You know, and just see me and say, wait. That time, him did just start locks. You know? So I'm surprised to see a man locks. It ain't not a man, because I've never seen that before. You know, so, you know, friends for a long time. And I try to remember, you know. That was when I was about what? 70 something. Yeah, in the 70s. And him and Peter and Bonnie used to come by all the while before them go to studio and cool out, and then, you know. I started engineering now. The first thing I did in engineering really was through Carl Peterson. Right? He's one of the greatest engineers who ever come out of Jamaica. Carl Peterson. You know? And the Whalers had just split up. And Bonnie gave him the tapes to Blackheart Man to come and mix. But he, because Bonnie wasn't, same was coming back to England again and not flying away. You know? And Bonnie gave him the tape them and him come over and he had to do a lot of re-recording. Right? Record over kind of things. So he was in the studio and he taught me how to record him. you know? And that is where that started, on Black Art Man.
Right, I'm going to end that there. Do you know what? These guys have been very, what should I say, accommodating. I've known them this for about 2 years, him and Tony. This story needs to be continued. So you have to move from the Grove to come to Brent because I'll put an October date where we're looking at, yes. So we are going to tell the story in Brent.
And I work for Brent.
Yeah. All these companies started in Brent. And last year, when we did this, hold on. I was claiming that all these companies, 108 was Cambridge Road. And Mikey said, no, because it's on the edge to the Fulham, no, not Fulham, Kensington. And he was claiming that, no, it wasn't quite. Yeah, so you know what I did? I went online and got the border map and showed it to that it is in Brent. No. But can you give me a round of applause? No. And now I'm going to have a What about talk? Okay, I see you've made the effort with the microphone, so we'll see about that. Okay, so Mikey Campbell has got an award, so let's just read that quickly. Can I have your attention, please? One conversation. IRD honors Mikey Campbell for his contribution to the building of the UK reggae industry through his work as a sound engineer, producer, record label owner, and artist manager. Can you give it up for Mikey? We have to honor these people because it's part of history. It's part of history. We hardly know these things. That's the whole point of what we're doing. So if you want to watch a Ghanaian man doing reggae, it's part of global African music, and I'm interested from the historical point of view. So it's not just the music. These people are alive. We've got to tap into that history whilst they are here. From the 60s, look at Tony, from the 60s they've been here. The document I did called Black Music History was supposed to be 40 years, but it stretched to 1962 because, what's his name, Sonny Roberts started the first, he claims to be African-owned recording studio in Brent in 1962. So, there we go. There's just one Tony Roberts, Orbital. One more, yes, because so Sonny, if I said Tony, I'm sorry. Sonny Roberts. And can I tell you something? He's one of the few people who came to it and is very comfortable. He's back in Jamaica. Sadly, a few of them ended up in Kensal Rise Cemetery, as someone said earlier. But at least a lot of our people didn't go back. They ended up dying here. So I'm saying, at least Sonny has ended up in Jamaica and is now a farmer. He grows herbs and stuff. And he meets Chris Blackwell of Jamaica. They can talk about the good old days. So, can we give a round of applause to Mikey? Okay. Can I have, and I'll thank you again, look, my wife says that they must have respect for me because it's not like I pay people, right? But there's some people I invite them and when they're in the country, they turn up. And I really appreciate that. Because a man like my professor, often, most weekends, he's not even in England. That's how busy he is. So my professor can come up. Can come up.
Hello, good morning, good morning.
Video.
Well, you know, I don't want to take up too much time because time is tight. Yeah, time is tight and blah, blah, blah. But in a nutshell, I started in 1979, started my label Arriva, and started in my front room and built my first mixing desk. Blah, blah, go through the 80s, started to create hits with people like Sandra Cross, Patty Banton, Maccabee, Tipo Irie, who else? Coffee, Lorna G. Yeah, Intense, loads of people. And through the 90s, did some international work with people like Massive Attack, Sade, Jamiroquai, and through 2000 label carry on with lots of dub productions that I done, hook up with some Jamaican bass artists, Lee Perry, U-Roy, Big U, Loads, Rankin Joe. And yeah, fast forward to now, just come off the road this morning from Montenegro, because one of our main things, Montenegro, which is one of the ex-Yugoslavian territories, right? It's on the Adriatic Sea. But you know, right now the label is still going strong with like 350 different titles. And we're like, we love to be just below the radar, because who don't know, don't know. And I find it's the best place to exist. So, in a nutshell, I see several faces that I've known and some I've worked with before. And I'd just like to say that the reggae thing, well, not just reggae, music, the business of music is constantly changing. And the rules that applied in the 70s and the 80s do not apply now. So anybody wanted to do anything in music, it's like they have to reload and come again. Because even the way you make money, I mean, now in this decade I hear people talking about publishing. When publishing, it's gone from there. That was like the record company's secret on the writing tool, okay, in the past 4 decades. But it's moved on, because now it's streaming, and if you look at where you earn streaming, you need a magnifying glass, right?
I'm holding you there because if you want to know more, on Tuesday, 3rd at Goldsmiths, you break down income streams and royalties. I want you to talk about Lavish Rock. So let me just play a couple of our trailers, and then you guys, so you can hold it there. Now, can you give a round of applause to my professor, please?
Yeah, but the thing flowing, man.
Coming from Jamaica to be a part of the English industry and seeing Dennis Brown, your Gregory Isaacs, your Freddie McGregor.
By the 70s, when I was growing up as first generation Jamaican, we had kids at school, white kids at school, that was as familiar with reggae as we were, because their parents were into ska.
My mum really loved Lovers Rock, and that's kind of what sucked me into the genre.
At the moment there's a resurgence of Lovers Rock, and there's actually younger.
Okay, so that's the trailer of a film called The Story of Lovers Rock, and this is the man that did it. So Menelik, just say a few words for us and load up the next thing. So Menelik Shabazz, he's done a lot of documentaries. This is one of the most important documentaries. Hey Tony, I need one love here, right? Give some love to Brother Menelik. So he's going to talk about, we talk about Lovers Rock.
Yes. I'm sorry, sir. Can I be really, really rude here? Can I be really rude? On Legacy, 1 second. See, what happened is, when we sent out the broadcast about today's event, we got this phone call from this gentleman in Ghana, and he wanted to know what was going on. So he's phoned me while I'm here to tell Ghana what's going on at this conference. And Legacy, can you hear me? Okay, so I've interrupted this gentleman, and he's a legend, you know. And you got the whole place looking at me mad, you know. So this legend here is a gentleman who directed a movie called The Story of Lovers Rock. He's just about to do his presentation. I've interrupted the whole conference, so can you say hello to Mr. Menelik Shabazz? King Legacy, sir.
Greetings, King.
I'm beautiful, I'm beautiful. This is a three-dimensional. Can we not do this? Yeah, can I have got long
you're in trouble now.
Yeah. Because I got long
Thank you, people.
Okay. Right. So, how long have I got?
No, just a couple of moments and I'll show something and we'll sit down for a little while.
Right, okay. This whole session is really, this whole day is really celebrating reggae music. And one of the things that we need to document is the story. And so I was fortunate to be in the place.
Excuse me, one voice, please.
To recognize and have the skills to be able to make it happen. And Castro Brown did the show, Kings and Queens of Lovers Rock. Lovers Rock, can't remember the title now, 2008, was it? Six, was it? Who was there? Is anyone there? Was there at the Lovers Rock Gala Awards?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
2008.
2008, right, okay. And so I saw a poster or an advert in the Voice newspaper, and then suddenly it clicked when I saw all these artists that were going to appear, that this was a historic moment, because I don't remember all of those artists coming together previously in the way that this moment was presenting to me. So that was kind of really how it happened. I thought, okay, let's document this event. I talked to Castro and we worked it out, and so I was able to film the event. At that point, I wasn't thinking of a film. I was just thinking, this is history. We need to recognize it, document it. And then as we filmed it and we had all this material, then the next step for me was that we need to do more. Let me get some interviews. Let me start to build it up and make it into something that would be a film. So that's really how the journey really started. It wasn't something that I set out beforehand. It was just seeing that advert in the paper, and that stimulated me to move forward. And that's kind of how it manifested. I didn't realize at the time what the film would be, how significant it would be, and time has proven that it's become important in representing a document, a story, our story of a music that has never really been documented before. So that's really why, and that's how the story of Lovers Rock came to be. And the film has gone around the world. It's in Japan, now I'm told in Korea, as well as been shown on television in some places. It's been a film which is brought to the fore and gave value. I think the most important thing for me was that the film has given value to a genre that we had there, but wasn't given the acknowledgement. And so that's what the film has done. It's given acknowledgement to this music all across the world for time. So that's the, the importance of documenting our history. And we don't do enough, because Lovers Rock is just one film, and unfortunately we haven't got more, because the story cannot be told in one film.
Sure.
And I'm looking forward to others to step forward as well, because to make this film I had to dig into my own pocket to make it. And that's again one of the problems that we have, is that we need to support what we do bigger.
Okay, I want to come in here because yes, I don't claim to making a film on your level. I do what's called Vox Pops and guerrilla film. So if it's a mobile, wherever I am, it's not planned. And then I stick things in front of people and say something. Because I call it conversational filmmaking. If I'm going to have a conversation, if I don't prime you and say, these are the questions I want to ask you, I ask you a question and say what you want to say. So in 2012, in terms of Jamaica, what was the significance of 2012? 50, yeah. By the way, I put what was it, independence in quotes, because how independent are we? So I started doing a Vox Pops, and I asked them one question: what has been Britain's contribution towards the development of reggae music? And I was hoping to show it in 2012 as part of marking Jamaica at 5th then. It never got finished, and I kept doing it. And I've got different versions, but as part of British Black Music Month, I know you were there, a couple of you guys came to University of London, and I showed a sort of draft to get some feedback. Oh, I think one of the reasons why I also gave you the refund was that you did the feedback for me. Yeah, I was asking why did I refund people the money. So I'm just going to share a few shots of it, then I'll ask you some questions. And the point I want to make about my thing is that it's like we seem to have one story. As the question was, what has been Britain's development contribution towards the development of reggae? And you can believe that 90% will say, love is rock, love is rock. Occasionally, someone will talk about Ireland or talk about the record companies and their involvement. So I'm just going to play a little bit, and then my professor doesn't want to come up, so he's got a microphone there.
Well, I know from my upbringing, one of the music that really appealed to me here, and even though I had roots in Jamaica, with Jamaican reggae music, the Lovers Rock, you know, the birthing of Lovers Rock here, for me, created an opportunity to link England to Jamaica, because a lot of our artists would look also at what those that went before us were doing. So for me, that was the birth of Lovers Rock. That was something that's made a contribution to reggae music. Well, my brother, for me personally, the greatest contribution here has been the creation of Lovers Rock. And Lovers Rock has been influenced by reggae music heralded from Jamaica. As someone that plays music and entertains people and tries to share the journey of reggae music with our fellow citizens here in England, I know it's been a very important contribution, because we can't always reach out and touch and feel the artists who the authors of reggae in Jamaica, but we can have people here that are born and bred here, that are influenced by the reggae music of the original, and then we can help to create something that they can attend, share, play, and be a part of. Hence the amount of English Lovers Rock, you know, of African origin, born here, but producing reggae music with that reggae influence right here in the UK. We call it Lovers Rock.
I think Britain, in terms of like the community, we encompass a large caucus of the African diaspora. And the African diaspora in Britain has sustained, nurtured, and cocooned both reggae music and reggae artists. Reggae artists who found refuge from Jamaica for one reason or another, and other reggae artists from across the globe who felt to themselves that they wanted to participate in the genre or participate in the art form, and perhaps didn't have the type of environment in their home country or their home nation to enable them to do that. And they were able to do that in Britain. So therefore, I think Britain can take pride in itself as one of the unsung components in the elevation and continuation of reggae music. And in respect of Britain, I do mean the African diaspora, but also some of the native British people, but particularly the African diaspora that has been living in Britain for the past 50, 60 years.
Well, as a journalist, no matter people say now that's ended, but as a journalist, I think you have to be more specific. You do too broadly. So, pick on, and I know obviously I don't need time to think about it, but give me some examples so that it's much more concrete than the generalized. So, okay. John, and yeah.
I think mainly, even if you look at most of the major reggae artists from Jamaica, at some point have spent some part, some tradition in Britain. From Alton Ellis, Dennis Brown, the Wailers, you name them. Most of them have spent a significant portion of their time within Britain, and their stay in Britain allowed them to develop their art form in terms of sort of like whether the songs that they wrote, or whether they hit upon a new sound, or whether they worked with a couple of musicians that they wouldn't have had available to them in Jamaica, that it allowed them to nurture, develop, and ferment the art form to become the great beacon for freedom that we know reggae music to be.
When I think of reggae in England, the person that comes right to mind is Linton Grayson Johnson, my lovely, darling poet and thinker and whatever. He is the one. I remember when we were both at the Keskidi together, and Linton was supposed to be librarian, and he was up there. We did the whole heap of shelves and notebooks, and I was supposed to be administering this, and we didn't have any money. You know, we were trying to do a thing. We've been trying this all our lives. Though Linton is very successful now, and we said, and he was writing this. England is a bitch. Yeah, and that's.
Okay, so that's unedited, by the way. So if there are any flaws, that's unedited. But please, Meredith, can you take a say, and then we'll talk. So I want to talk about the genre, Lovers Rock. My professor, you produced quite a bit of Lovers Rock. What do you think is what differentiates it from other forms of reggae? Because reggae now is like the umbrella title in which now so any type of music, Jamaican music can be found. So when we talk about Lovers Rock, and obviously we have claimed that's a British invention, what separates it?
Technically, there was always reggae love songs, right?
Have you cut out? Colin, where are you?
Calling.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, there was always reggae love songs, right? But what made Lovers Rock different from like the songs done before, like John Howe? Because you have to remember when John Howe did 1,000 Volts of Hope, it wasn't called Lovers Rock. But Lovers Rock was given the title after a popular UK label called Lovers Rock, out of South London, right? And it had the heart in it, the red heart in it, and the songs were a bit sweeter, Brown Sugar, Cassandra, all the songs. And the title stuck for that sweeter kind of reggae. But in essence, what makes Lovers Rock different from other types of reggae, the one that was made in England, is that it leaned towards Philly soul and Motown. So it was like a blend between Philadelphia soul with all the influences, with all the strings, with all the bells, and a heavy bass line, which, you know, in a dance you grab on a wallpaper, you know, you do the thing. All right? It's a combination of the sweet and the rough. And of course, I would credit a lot of that first productions to Dennis Bovell, because I notice a lot of people in the reggae business don't like to give credit to other people. It's like everything starts and finishes with us. And I like to mention the people who deserve to be mentioned. And Bovell is one of the guys who cultivate the thing so that people like myself, could come along and think. And people like Mikey from Aswood was the next one. We were listening to those records and thinking, shit, man, this is beautiful. This is magic. Yeah. Them man make tunes that we didn't think was possible. So by the time people like myself come along, I could only embrace what they'd done and try and take it to the next level and keep up with the business. Because, you know, when you run a record label, there's three things you have to look at. Music, gotta be right. Technical side, gotta be right. And the business.
Thank you.
And if you lack in any one of them, the thing's gonna fall down. And I think that's the biggest problem with reggae in England. That a lot of people never had the business side. Sorry?
I said they should come on the courses. We've got courses going, including a free one. It goes based on.
Well, you know, real business, you don't need a course to do it.
It helps.
You just listen, man. real business. If you talk to people like Steve Jobs, okay, he's passed on now. Apple, that man have no qualification, did no course or nothing. Barry Gordy at Motown, never had no course. I'm just jumping and use common sense, you know. So you know, what I would like to say though, I heard a few people mention who came on before who talk about not getting paid and things like that. And the truth of the matter is, in this business, you can't look to get paid if you're not selling any significant amount, you know. And at the end of the day, right. At the end of the day, the truth is, if you're the artist and you're in business, and a record company is there, right? You have some money coming in. The record, it's only fair if the record company make more than you, the artist. You know why? Because that record company could then invest in other artists. And if they're doing what they're doing properly, they could make the whole thing grow. When an artist gets some money, it goes on the artist. And seldom even spend it on another artist. So at the end of the day, I think record companies have to make money. Just like our banks have to make money. So anyhow,
okay.
Me downtown.
Mr. Mendeley, do you not describe yourself? You can keep the microphone as a reggae producer, but your documentary is important. So as a fan, walking out to, what's your perspective of reggae? Because if they went to Japan, someone said, Mr. Mendeley, yeah, what's this Lovers Rock? I know about reggae from Jamaica. How can you describe us maybe what stands out and what differentiates it, your view?
Well, I think Professor has already kind of really made the points, the distinctiveness of the music. But also, you have to add in the time and the feeling that we had in the community and what Lovers Rock was able to do as a kind of healing force. And so it stays with you for your life. And so it's that memory, it's taken us to a place of warmth. It's also something that has been created from this atmosphere, this environment. So those are the elements. So from my point of view, it really is about recognizing it and getting our children and their children and getting the wider society to understand it and to embrace it and know what it was and where it came from.
Sure. My professor, we know that females feature very much in Lovers Rock as opposed to, let's say, recent culture. There are less females in that, but in Lovers Rock there's quite a good proportion of the artists are females. Why do you think that is?
But I guess they're more emotional sex, aren't they? I mean, a woman in theory cry easier than a man. There's some men cry too. But also, I think here in England, we the guys then who were producing the record, we would more give a woman a chance because we didn't really see the woman as a second class or somebody who should just be in the kitchen, you know. And to me, there is nothing better than having some good female vocals on some heavy rhythm. It goes together, man.
Okay, cool. I have to make up my professor because life is funny. He produced a record about 30 years ago with Sister Audrey called English Girl. And lo and behold, that 30 years on the lyrics, that keeps me in. They're now asking us to get our papers. And that's what's happened to the Commonwealth, as I don't say, Okay, well, so Windrush scandal is a come out from Windrush scandal. And that's what's happened to people. The sad is people who've been deported or who've lost their homes or their jobs. So please check out Sister Audrey. Unlike Just Start that are now doing digital, my friend occasionally does physical. So you did some physical copies of the track, didn't you?
Yeah, man. Well, you know, I try to embrace what's going on and keep my finger on the pulse of the record business, you know, because like I said before, it's a constant changing landscape, you know, and just when you think you have it right, it change again. Because like 4 years ago, everyone was saying CD dead, CD dead. Now CD start again. You know, 10 years ago, you hear vinyl dead.
Sure.
And so, you know, you really need to keep your finger on the pulse, because
which you've been doing.
It's a changing environment.
We drove past your place, and I was telling someone that that's where you operate from. I said, that's one of the few Africans, I don't say black that way, Africans who's been in business for over 40 years and still going. Just like Hawkeye, I appreciate this because it takes trials and tribulations and challenges to be going for 40 years or it's no mean feat, right? So I did recognize that. But let's pick up from my brother who nearly got lynched. You made a film about rap and relations, didn't you?
Yes. All my films. I mean, people may have known me for doing a film back in the day called Burning an Illusion.
Yeah.
Right. So that's about love. So my interest has always been in love and how we express it in through the different experiences. So coming forward, Love is Rock, and then more recently I did a film called Looking for Love, which is about black love and relationships in this time, and the need for healing and the need for us to look deeper into why we're having these patterns of behaviors that are going back generations and going into future generations. So Looking for Love, yes, is my latest film that's been out a couple of years ago, and then I've got...
Yes. Well, there's a few CDs going. How much are they? How much are they? DVDs?
£7.
Well, there you go, £7.
Yes, some Love is Rock.
Okay. Okay, I'll buy the Looking for Love, so just keep one for me. Yeah.
There's only one.
Oh, then keep it for me then. I'll give it to my
wife. And then
wife.
I've got a few more looking at Story of Love as well.
Okay, right. Last question. Going forward, what are your views on that? Because we just want to focus on the Islamic genre, that's the space. So as a producer, what are your views on where you think it's going to go in the next few years?
Well, as a human being and a God-fearing human being, I don't deal with clarifiers.
Okay.
I deal with the now.
Fair enough.
And it could go anywhere, any direction. Because as it is, if you notice, the whole reggae thing is gone more towards the Europeans as it is. And if we don't do anything about it, that's going to continue until the whole history is going to be rewritten. And you hear reggae was created in France or in Germany. I am not going to start predicting. It's up to us.
Thank you very much. That's a good point.
To drive it.
Yes.
In a certain direction.
Right. I just think that the issue continues to be how much do we validate and support our music financially? How do we create ways to do that? And when I look at the reggae music in this time, I see there are practitioners, and I'm glad that there is a talent aspect that keeps the younger generation kind of on board. But off that, we need to have stories, we need to have visuals, because the future is about how you visualize, how you present yourself. This is why on the social medias and all that, you have people who may get 1 million hits, just one person, because of. But the point is that the visuals, how we present ourselves in the future, is going to be how we are seen. And so far we've been invisible in that space. And so the more of us, your film that you're doing and others, and also in bringing the younger ones into the space to their stories, and visualizing and giving a new look, a new presentation, because everything has to renew itself. And so how we're renewing it, how we're connecting the music to the young ones. But it's not so much how we're also connecting to them, it's how they become part of it, part of our story, how they are told our story.
I think when young people see that there's a future or they could be rewarded from something, it would be a natural thing for them to evolve into it. And the problem with reggae in the past is that most youngsters didn't think that this is going to lead them to anywhere, you know, and they weren't aware, you know.
But having said that, reggae is still, in all the mainstream music I'm hearing, there's a bit of reggae in there. Reggae doesn't die.
But it's not us.
No, it's not us. But the point is, you know, but the point is, it's there. And so, I just think that we just have to continue. They are kidnapping, but the point is that younger people, our younger people, are seeing that and they're recognizing that it can work in because their guidelines is not from, you know, it's from Europe, America, or from the mainstream. That's where they're seeing money is being made. So what I'm saying is that a lot of the artists, big artists, use reggae beats, whatever. You're hearing it. It's just that we now have to confirm it. And as I say, visually, we have to present it.
Okay.
Because it's in that space that we need to be present.
Okay, on that note, I really want to thank these gentlemen for really making the effort and honoring us. For example, I spoke to Melly about this months ago. He was not sure whether he would be in the country, but once he decided he was in the country, he honored us by being here. So I really appreciate you being here. My professor made an effort to come back into London and come straight here. And I appreciate that. So thank you. So we're going to do this out. Okay, where is June? Last year, June was one of the few people that came to the International Reggae Day. And I've known June for a while, but I didn't know the music side of her. And it took a while for me to realize that she was a sound woman, or I mean, they have a sound system, because obviously sound systems are very much dominated by males. So it's nice. Where's my sister? What's it called? Where is she? Is she there?
Surly.
No, not Surly. My sister who runs the sound system, 3 legs or 11 legs.
Legs 11.
Yeah, legs 11. Okay, there you go. No problem. Okay. Yeah, hand sisters. Okay, so I forgot, Surly, can you come up quickly, because there's an award for you. Come up quickly. Yeah, so this is an award for Surly, Braithwaite, IRD, Honors Selling Braithwaite, for building Britain's Got Reggae as a platform for aspiring artists to showcase their talent in the UK and beyond. Obviously, this is one of many shows. Britain's Got Talent. I think there's Reggae, Star Factor. There's a couple. I think there's a lady here who's a promoter of one of those other programs. Am I right? No? I'm asking you, Colin. So I'm trying to say that there are a few. So I'm glad.
Shining Stars, sorry.
Yeah, so there are a few. So, but we should, hopefully it's not competition, it should be that we're trying to build a scene. When we started, we decided that we're going to move forward with International Reggae. What we decided was to have a stakeholders meeting. So people involved. My sister came, a few people came. Obviously, people dropped off because of whatever. Calling, a few people stayed. So it was like, it's not just about Kwakwa, the British black music. The first one was done by me and my organization, but subsequently, people, this would not have happened, quite frankly. It would have happened, but not to the extent without someone like Colin, right? So we can do our things individual, but there are times when it can be collective, right? So I'm proud to honor you. Next time it could be another organization doing something similar. So, okay, once it's out of that, can you come over here, please? So, Sammy, this is something that we've given to you. What did you say? Your change size. So, you've been recognized by the IRD, and you know, I hope it inspires you to move on with what you're doing, giving opportunities for the young people to come through. Yes. Yeah, so I'm glad I did this, because now we're going to talk about women in sound. We did women in reggae, but this is women in sound. So my sister June, are you ready? You should be moving towards. Oh, so she's not here. The PowerPoint.
There's two of us.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much. Hey, thank you very much. Oh, what hasn't she got? You didn't tell me. What hasn't she brought?
I've got one.
Oh, no. Oh, there you go. Oh, okay. Okay, can you do those things then? Adam. I'm mindful of time, so unfortunately, this is going to be a bit of a speed version of what we wanted to do, but at least we will get to hear them speak a bit, because it's important that the women are recognized in the male-dominated sound system through Ade and June.
Okay, greetings one and all, and
There's mics.
No, because that is, once I give it to you, it's yours.
Okay, cool.
So you want me to do it? Okay. No problem. Next year, I hope somebody's not still coming. Next, she knows about my.
So we want to. Greetings one and all, thank you for staying behind, because I know today's running late. We had that experience last year. So I'm Julie Rankin and this is DJ Ade, okay?
Nzinga Sounds. So Nzinga, as many people know, is named after an Angolan warrior queen, and we chose that name specifically because at the time that we came up, known each other since the age of 11, we went to school together.
Just the other day.
We went to university together, went to college together, we had children together, her godmother to her child and vice versa. So we've had a very long and intertwined life. And much of what we're about today is really based on that. It's about sisterhood. And looking back now, we're realizing the resilience that we've gained coming through is really what's enabled us to have that longevity as running the sound. So, do you want to speak to that first image?
Yes, yeah. So that picture on that side shows the extraordinary dancing skills we've both got. The sister to the far left, the three of us, we went to an all-girls school, and the sister on the far side, her name was Julie. She passed away, so that's one of it. But the three of us, we were prefects together. We knew each other from 11, 12, and we go back a long way. And she's also the godmother of my son. And basically, Nzinga Sounds came out of Linda playing at lots of family and social parties. And I used to be her sort of helper, literally.
Wing lady.
Yeah, wing lady, and taking the records out the sleeves and blah, blah, blah. And Linda was getting a lot of requests from family to play at other events. And we decided, well, you know what, if people are going to keep on asking, we might as well get some equipment together and take it kind of seriously. And that's at that point that we established the name. This picture here, our younger selves, just a couple of weeks ago, shows us playing at a wedding. And it must be like the early 90s that we did that wedding, I think, or even late 80s. And I hadn't seen that picture for a long time, but a sister whose wedding it was sent it to me. I was like amazed. And the sisters back in the room, you talked about, was it the 3 Ps? One of them was professionalism and actually practicing and perfection. Endorse that all the way, because as you can see, we actually used to organise our records by genres. And we kind of liberated those dividers from Virgin Records when we both worked. And, so that we wanted to be able to be professional, come over professionals, and we are. We've worked and worked and worked at it. I am studying at Goldsmiths, and I co-organised a conference back in January called Let's Play Vinyl. And one of the things I did at that event was to organise a panel. I was looking for, sorry, enough respect to Sister Culture hiding in the corner. Come, show yourself, Sister Culture. Foundation, sound system, operator, respect to you, yeah?
Every time.
And what I wanted to do was a panel purely on sound system culture, women sound system culture, but as it does to DJs. Anyway, one of the sisters on that panel, who we know a long time, actually reminded us that we played at her son's naming. And she actually said her son was 32. At that point, my head and my jaw hit the floor because obviously, you know that you do these things, but she actually said he was 32. So we knew, I mean, Addie's always been saying to me, we've been playing for over 30 years, but that was the evidence. Anyway.
And just to add to that, in terms of, you know, why that picture is really important is that I suppose our first gathering of information and knowledge about music came from our time of working at Virgin. So, you know, we finished uni, unemployment, late 80s, you know, and June basically walked in off the street at Virgin and asked for a job. And she was the first black woman not employed, not as a cleaner or a security guard. So, and I was the second. So the two of us worked there for a period of roughly, maybe 3 years. But those were really informative years because, you know, I was the record buyer for the reggae 12-inch section, so we dealt a lot with a lot of the labels back in the day. Jetstar, Mr. Palmer at Jetstar was really supportive. And so that helped a lot of our learning, as well as going on trips to Jamaica where we were able to go to, you know, many of the shops to buy.
Studio Ones. Yeah. And sort of take the records out of the boxes on the floor, literally, you know, it was just kind of very chaotic, but we were in our element, you know what I mean, just picking up records and buying galore, and going down to Mr. Harriet's shop in Kingston and there, take up the whole counter for 2-3 hours, you know, just spending galore. So.
Yeah. So it's important to say that also during that time, the 80s, you know, sus laws, you know, back in the day, the Brixton uprising, Birmingham uprising, you know, obviously around the time where black identity and about taking charge of our identity was very important. So we were very much involved in, I would say, the political landscape. I worked for an organisation called Obala, which stood for...
How many programs left?
Sorry? So just saying that I used to work for an important organisation called Obala that set up the first black art gallery in Seven Sisters, and Sister earlier referred to Linton Kwesi Johnson, and we had poets like Linton perform, Jean Binta Breeze from Jamaica, and so it was a very, I think, a very pioneering organisation from back in the day, and June was also on the board of that organisation. The reason why we say that is that it very much informed our musical playing style, so I think June could say something about that.
But there's also one other thing I wanted to say was that Linda DJ Ade established the first African record section in the megastore at Tottenham Court Road. Yeah? And so it's really important because not only as she was saying we took our political identity properly, we also tried to share our culture and make sure that, you know, we could give money back to the artists and promote the artists in whatever way we could.
Right, so fast forward to February this year, and Dub Me Always. We've had the privilege of playing in lots of different settings, not just weddings and parties and community events. We've also been, I suppose, honoured by people like Wolf Walker, who's a prominent promoter who enabled us to play at concerts.
Yeah, so yeah, we have to give respect to Wolf. He engaged us to play when Burning Spear performed at what is now the O2 up the Archway, or that Kentish Town Forum. Yeah, and you know, I have to say, a lot of male promoters wouldn't have given us that break. The other person we need to hail up is Hugh Francis, who also we supported the Mighty Diamonds for him and the Heptones for him as well. So whilst we see ourselves as pioneering black women, we have been supported by some really good, I would say, forward-looking black men, because we're talking about the early 90s at that time, you know, and we want to give respect to those two people in particular for supporting us.
Yeah. So I think a key part of why we've kind of had such longevity is resilience, and resilience we've had in the sisterhood that we've had between us as sisters, but also sisters like Donna and Sister Culture. You know, we've had you know, the privilege of playing with her in the past, and vice versa. We've learned from each other.
And the thing I think the point that we want to make is that Sister Culture predated us, and I did share this memory at Goldsmiths earlier on. I can still see, for some reason, leaving Sister Culture's house in Kennington, and I heard African Girl by Sugar Minor, and that still stays with me. That was the first time I'd heard that track. So, Yeah, we have to give respect to Sister Culture and the ranking Miss P as well, because those people predate us, and we don't hear about them. And part of why I've gone to Goldsmiths, God help me, is that I want to write something. Well, I am going to write something, no matter how I do it, about. Initially, I wanted to focus on African Caribbean women who have sound, but I made it extend it to DJs as well, because there are. Yeah, there's a handful, including Legs 11, not 3 Legs, I know you'd be cheeky, Legs 11 and other sound systems, but there's more women DJs, so I may have to extend it and put it on record, because just jump in a little bit to share a little couple of anecdotes. So yesterday we were at the Windrush celebration arrival at City Hall, and if you search for me or Linda, you'll see I've spent 2 hours this morning at 6 o'clock, mad, posting pictures and videos of that event. It was amazing, absolutely amazing. Danny Ernie was hosting, and DJ Ade and myself, we were playing the music from about 2 o'clock to about 8:30, and on the bill was Black Slate, Carol Thompson, and a couple of other artists. Sister Audrey, yeah, I was hoping she was going to be here today, but yeah, Sister Audrey, and it was an amazing event. So I posted a picture that I'd taken of Danny Ernie, and this sister, genuinely, just innocently said, "Lovely music, wicked music, Danny Ernie." So I had to correct her. I had to say, he was the host of the compere, we were the DJs. And the thing was, there was times when Danny Ernie was on the stage, so how he was going to be on the stage and playing the music, I'm not quite sure. But also, we were predominantly at the decks and the CD player. Occasionally, I was skanking and Ade was going off and doing the electric slide. But, and I'm thinking, Danny Ernie made it clear, he was giving us respect. He was saying DJ Ade and calling me Judy Ranks, he's Judy Ranky, but Judy. And his sister, because she saw him, and because she knows him, couldn't compute that it was 2 women, yeah? The other experience we've had is that, you saw the boxes earlier, men have come up and not even asked us, but have started going through the boxes. And I tell you, if I had them shades, someone would have been handless, as Ade knows. No, I don't want to dominate.
Well, I think that the important key for us is kind of like going forward. We strongly believe that the presence of women in sound system culture is assured. With the likes of Legs 11 and others, coming through. Yeah, and it really is, I suppose, us as veterans, whether we want to accept it or not, we're big people, or big women within the sector, and we really want to impart our knowledge and some of the, I suppose, survival strategies that we've had to employ just to, be able to have the privilege to do what we do. We wouldn't change it for the world. It's been a real journey, challenging at times, but we've learned a lot, and I think we've given pleasure to many people, and hopefully we'll kind of help to shape the experience of women coming forward. So we'd like to, end by saying that, la luta continua, the battle continues, but we are pleased to be part of the journey.
Can I just ask a question before you finish? You still run Sound System now, yeah? So do you have your own set with your big boxes and everything?
Not so much the big boxes, we've scaled down because, we've kind of like have to be quite compact. But depending on what it is.
I was going to ask, how do you carry your stuff? Is it just the 2 of you, or do you have other
We have some support, but more or less I take care of the equipment and she takes care of the records in terms of storage. And when we have an event, we'll organise ourselves if we need additional transport. We have people that come on site and help us.
Okay, yeah, because I know that people have this perception that because you're women, you're not going to be able to lift the heavy stuff. And I know other sisters that run Sound Systems, they do have men to help them lift the big speakers. So you were saying that you scale down now, so you don't really have.
Well, we used to do a lot more heavy lifting back in the day. I mean, we're older now, so we don't sort of,
But the other thing I'd like to say is that I had an argument. I had a slight argument with this brethren on one of the Taliba Wax's Facebook group, because he was asking about stacks and how many stacks and blah blah blah, and I said it's not about the size of the boxes, it's about the quality, yeah? And I can't remember who it was, but I heard a male DJ say the same thing to me. So, we don't necessarily, as Linda, I know as Linda said, depending on the scale of the event, if we want bigger boxes, we can hire them, you understand me? But for most of the things we do, the boxes that we've bought and we have do it, you understand me? And I just, I
I think
I could be a little bit rude and say men and size and thing, but I won't go there.
Sometimes I've been in dances where I hardly see any women in the dance. Myself and my partner, we go to many, many dances all over the country, Leicester, Birmingham, Bristol, London, all over. And I can count the amount of women that I see in the dance. I'm talking about roots and culture dances. So I'm weighing up the situation. I'm thinking, is it because that men are more interested in the size of their boxes and the amount of noise that they can make in the dance, as opposed to the quality of music that they're playing and the sound? So that's why I was wondering, what do you do? And I'm glad you gave a really good answer, because it's not about the quality. It's about the quality. And I think that's why there is that imbalance in the dance, especially in roots and culture dances. You hardly see any women.
I would say that, we heard from Mikey Campbell earlier, one of the legendary engineers, and clearly it's about the quality of the setting up and the music and the output. And also at a conference they had at Goldsmiths, I can't remember the brother's name. I think it was which sound he was with. He was an engineer, one of the early engineers.
What Coxon?
Justice. And it really is a tradition about quality of sound. So, I hear what you're saying. I wouldn't accept that, I think that very much sound quality is,
No, I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying that it is about sound quality, because when I was growing up, going and listening to sound systems, I knew that men prided themselves on the quality.
Sure.
They would talk about the roundness of the bass, and hear the top, and everything was sounding great. But now it's just about bam, 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 and you can't really hear any quality.
Well, but that's true. That point you made, that last one about the quality of sound, is, and I referred to Justice. When you heard that man talk about sound, and as a young man, the engineering, I was like, whoa, at 19, I think he was talking about that. He was a young man, but he appreciated the quality of the sound. Now, in terms of women on the bill, I've started to collect the flyers that I get on WhatsApp and on Facebook and so on. The reason why we're not there is because the men don't bother to find us. And in fact, someone on our behalf had to fight for us to be on the bill yesterday, because who are we? They don't know us, but now they know us, because up to 1,000 people were having a great time. And if you search my name, June Reed, hopefully you'll see the videos of people doing the electric slide, and people having a great time to Chronics, and it was just a lovely, lovely event.
Can I ask a question? As female DJs, I didn't see it. You want to go first? Female DJs, what do you get, more men or women following you?
Well, I would say, over the years, we've been doing it for almost 30 years, and we have, the woman that Jim mentioned, we tend to have a loyal following, so we play at people's weddings and then christenings with the babies from those weddings. So, it's kind of, those people stay with us. In terms of, I think it's 50-50.
I know you play sounds and all that, No, I know you play sound systems. I just wonder what audience you get, more male or female?
I think it's about 50-50.
It's mixed.
Yeah, and we really, have been supported, I think, very, very loyally by women in particular, because I think they relate to us, and they can see, that it's not always an easy, it's not an easy sector to be in. It's kind of, you have to do it. You walk in and there's all eyes on you. You're almost expected to fail before you get started.
Exactly.
So it's just
So can I go back in and
just explain?
Hold on, because I'm mindful of time. So one of the parts of the program was the plenary in which people could ask questions. So I'll say this is what we are doing now. It's not enough time, but please, that's what we are doing. So go ahead.
So before you say that, just give an example about the challenges. We were at an event, I think it was Colin's birthday party, 60 or somewhere anyway. And so we're here, and the decks and everything are there, the mixer and blah blah. And this brother came and just stood there, literally like this. Yeah. And it was Colin's birthday party. And then he went to the side and he just stood there.
Confused.
If I could have been quick enough, I would have said to him, can I help you? Yeah. But literally he stood there, up to now I don't know what he was saying, what he was thinking, but he just stood there and he walked to one side. That's the kind of stuff we get. And they wouldn't do that to a brethren. They wouldn't do that.
Wouldn't that be a compliment though? The fact that
you know.
To be honest, if he said something.
Yeah, if you know.
Okay.
Sorry, just take this question and we'll come back.
Okay, as I'm a female DJ as well, and I just wanted to know, do you go out as a just DJs and play on sets, or do you just go with your sound?
Well, no, we take our sound equipment to events, but
okay, but would you play on a set where there's just we're playing female DJs? Because the reason I'm asking is because I've put together a thing where I'm playing an event called The Brothers Meet the Sisters, and I'm looking for female DJs to play against the guys and give them a good run for their money. So, you know, I'm just asking if you girls would you know, you go out as DJs, because the set it's in a club and the set is already there. So, you know.
We'd be open to that. I mean, part of the experience that we had, we used to do a session down at the 77 Social Club. Anyone's heard of that?
Yeah,
we Saturday night with Admiral, and he used to invite us down there, and that was kind of like the competition setup where, you know, at a certain point in life, it's just one-on-one right through. So, in terms of, you know, so it's something we enjoy, and, you know, we would definitely
You're definitely up for it. Because I've heard about you for years, but I've not actually seen you play in a club just as a DJ. Like, you know, the guys, they have a club, an event, and there's like X amount of guy DJs on there. I've not really seen you guys on the bills. I just see you as a sound. I know that you play out with your sound, but I've not really seen you.
No, the picture before was us at the David Katz residency in the Ritzy. So the second Wednesday of every month, he invites. So the forthcoming one will be What's He Won from Venture FM. And for Valentine's Day, we played there. So we do, and we've been doing Shady Grove, and we've done, as Sister Ade said, 77. So we've been doing it all the time.
Yeah, Shady Grove was years ago.
I know.
The gentleman was about to ask. Can we hear the question he was asking?
Yes, sorry, bro.
Thank you.
Okay, I will stand out of respect for your position. I was asking the question, wouldn't your experience when the gentleman came up to you and was probably intimidating to your, when he was looking at you playing, wouldn't that be a compliment to your skills as a DJ to withstand those inquiring eyes and giving the enough satisfaction that he would turn away? Because I would think that happens to every DJ, irrespective of your gender. Because I myself have gone to that position. I've been in that position where I've actually stood in front of a DJ and actually listened and watched what he's playing and wanted to see whether or not he would lose his composure or she would lose her composure. So I'm saying, would that not be looked at as a testament to your skill when that happens?
Okay, can I just say that I would behave differently? Most people, if they want to show us that they're enjoying the music, or they might have a question, they will ask the question, or they might high-five us, or as happened yesterday, there was a man and a woman, the clearly partners, and we just played MPLA, and they said, that tune there. So I kind of hear what you're saying, but if you're not going to, why would you not speak? Why would you just...
Can I just add to that?
But you would understand that we are all humans, and that being the fact that we respond to different occasions differently. And we're all individuals in our response.
Sure.
Just as how I'm responding to you, someone else would not respond to the conversation in that way. So I'm saying, rather than looking at the position that you were placed in as a confronting one, why not look at it as an opportunity to prove your competence? Instead of saying, okay, that wouldn't happen to a male counterpart. You understand what I'm saying?
Right. I think first of all, I would say that it's not 100% confirmed that, you know, it was confronting as such. It was really kind of, you know, what is this guy?
And you did it the correct thing by proving him wrong, so he had to.
But can I say it?
And go.
But can I just say that, you know, with respect also, you know, we've been around for 32 plus years. You know, we've played at some of the biggest venues, some of the smallest venues. We played in all different settings. And one of the recurring themes that have started from the day we started till up until maybe last year was this question that people always ask us, always from men. They'll come up in that same situation and look us straight in the eye and say, oh, where's the DJ? Literally, where is the DJ? So what I'm saying to give you, can I just finish? In terms of, you know, I think it's, you know, walking our shoes, it's who feels it, knows it, and I think that there's part of that kind of, you know, that we impart, that we read into the situation. And I think also as women, that we are, I think, highly sensitized to our audiences. I think that's part of one of the things that have made us so successful, that we are able to read audiences and, you know, respond to them. So I think taking your point on board, that really 32 years of sort of being around this and still being asked at my big age as a DJ.
Okay, I have to put a guillotine to that, okay, but thanks though. The lady at the back, you said, no, my friend, if you respect the situation in terms of time, you've had more, we don't need. So, the lady at the back, you said you wanted to have opportunity. We probably want to wrap it up now, so I'll leave the last one to you.
I had a lot of questions. I wanted to ask this lady a question.
Yeah, but my friend, look how many people, if we all want to do what we want to do, there are people who want to perform, and I'm talking about time, so just relax. We don't have enough time. We have to manage the time. So, yeah, you wanted to, so I give the last word to you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Good evening and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Alison Mason, and I'm the CEO of Shining Stars Entertainment. I've got personal background in television. I presented 2 television shows, one for TVJ Jamaica and one for TV6 in Trinidad. I've done radio, I've done Power Jam Radio. I'm now currently on GN Radio, which comes through Sky Television over here. It comes through Eurobird Television in Europe, and it comes through Astra Television in Africa. I'm also manager of up to 11 artists, and I've done a lot of theatre as well. I've been a member of Blue Mountain Theatre for over 15 years. So I've got a very varied history. I've also been an artist as well. I've recorded for my professor here. I've got 2 albums with the Twinkle Brothers. I've supported Max Romeo, the Mighty Diamonds, I've taught. So I've got a very varied range within this business. I'm currently managing 11 artists. One of them is our fine gentleman here, Sheldon Senior. He's currently the winner of the Reggae Star Factor Season 3. I'm also managing Dennis Brand, who's also a dancehall artist. Andrew Slowly is also here. I've got a graphics guy called Rob Radix Bailey. He's a superb graphics guy. I've got dancers, Urkel, and I've also got Leanna Ferguson. I have a poet called Adrian Tomlin, and I have other artists such as Cece Foster. We also have Chucky Banton. We also have Clarks. And I've got a store next door that I'd like you all to check us out. Now, as a promoter, as a woman, I found it very hard in this business. I've promoted successfully about 5 shows, 3 Shining Star events, which we've held at the Hootenanny. I've also promoted charity events like for Grenfell, as well as for Dominica. And I've also done Friends events with my personal artists. And just to say, as a woman within this business, we do come across obstacles, but we have enough resilience and talent to overcome these. And as a woman, every artist in this room, from Lorna G to True Identity to Audrey Scott, they've all appeared. I've called them all up on the stage as my job as a hostess as well. And you know, as a woman in this business, the scope is there, but we do need the support. Also, Diana Elliott Tomlin doing great things within this business. So we are here, we've been here a long time, and we've got a lot more to give. I just want to say that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. On a positive note, we are mindful that we've run out of time, but I'm going to do one of my random questions. These ladies spoke, and please, if you know the answer, just don't shout it out. We have to have rules and go by rules, or we have chaos. Just raise your hand, and if I pick you and get it right, and then we can move on. These ladies spoke about working in a record store, serving no more. Some lady here has raised her hand, wearing blue, so. And make sure if your husband, so make sure you don't get the wrong answer, because that would be better. So go for it. Indeed. Was it on the last which branch were you at? Tottenham Crossroads. Yeah. Oh, can I tell you history? Before, right, Virgin started from the Portobello and also the Marble Arch side of Oxford Circus. Then they opened one by the Tottenham Court Road. Then do you know how, this is how bad things were. They had security people and you had to leave your bag somewhere and go and look at the records. Those are the good old days. Okay. Oh, so if you're interested in a few programs that tells you what we do, particularly our extra session is at Goldsmiths College on Tuesday, 6 to 10. Colin will be playing sound system. There's a photographic section on women in reggae, and we're doing a free music business course. So if you have got a program, take one before it ends. I want to formally give these ladies their chocolate. So there we go. In case you don't realize, we've got a tradition of giving, and all the images. Photographer! Yes! Des is sleeping. He's tired. He said, oh, Des was in housing this morning. Des was in housing this morning because we planted the reggae tree. So it was quite a long day. Reggae tree! I'll tweet it. I will tweet it. Yes, yes. Yeah, I'm actually promoting that. So you put your sorry. Yeah, you can do that. You can do that. Thank you, my sister. Okay, so two lovely sisters are sound ladies, and as I said, it's so much dominated by men. It's good to hear, even though they've rushed it, we found quite an insight into their experiences. Are we okay with the light? Because you don't know
the light is a problem.
Oh, no, hold on, they said we should move. Oh, I'm sorry. Because, yeah, let's do it.
That's part of my effect.
Yes. Okay. Guys, thank you very much. I think since we've gone over time, we've got our True Identity that want to do a quick acapella. So, True Identity, I think we've gone over time. So can you get yourself ready? Ladies. So, what is this? If you do not register, make sure that we have your contact. That's the way we can touch you. If you register and pay the £5 refundable, make sure you register on the list, or else there will be no proof of refund. Thank you very much.
11111. Share. We never lost our true identity. We never lost our true identity. Not running around like some lonely sheep. We know ourselves and we have found our way. We never lost it, never lost it. We never lost it, never lost it. We never lost our true identity.
Sheldon, can you get ready?
Well, I want back the piece of chocolate. The chocolate. I want back my chocolate. I want my chocolate from you. I want my chocolate. This is one of the only chocolate I eat. Full around this. It's baby.
Thank you very much for those that stay to the bitter end. Because Sheldon to wrap up, he's going to do it. You're going to have to party. Okay, so here we go.
All right, I know that we're quite eager to get out of here and get started with the other celebrations that we might have planned. But I don't want to lose the opportunity of actually representing myself, the company that I represent, and the organization that I won the competition. So 2 heads, really. I don't know, trust me, I don't have 2 heads, but I'm representing 2 heads. Okay, Shining Star with Alice Mason, of course, and Reggae Star Factor was the winner for this year. So I'm feeling proud, and I'm truly blessed to be standing in front of so many different individuals that has contributed in the past, continues to contribute, and will continue in the future. So thank you for being here. You are actually the top of the top for me because you actually stayed around. So thank you for being here. This song, I think you know this song. It's a cover song that I'm going to do. I have loads of original songs, and I want the DJs here, DJ Dapa, to just support the artists, the UK-based artists, just as how you support the female and you support the male in their different ventures. Support the artists, build more artists like Maxi Breeze, like so many different others, yeah? Build more of those artists in here, from here, okay? So I'd like you to support my music, but I'm going to do a cover version. I'm sorry to be babbling on, but yeah, when you get the opportunity, you have to say what's on your mind. So it goes like this. I was born. Yes, I was born by the river in a little old tent. Whoa, and like the river I've been running ever since. Said it's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Said it's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die, 'cause I don't know what's out there beyond the skies. Said it's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. So when I go to the movies and I go downtown, somebody keep telling me, don't you stick around. Said it's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. So yes it will. Said it's been a long time coming, but we are the change. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. Everything happens on his mobile, but for some reason it didn't work. And I think the true demonstration of an artist, particularly a singer, is them singing a cappella without all that, because when you go to the studio, and even me can sound good. So, I'm glad that the lady started off with some serious a cappella, and you follow the app. So we have the true voice. And I think the positive note, also the lyrics that is sung is a positive note for us media. I want to thank you all for supporting us. Colin and the other people, maybe I should talk about Ebro, I should talk about Mike, who for some reason isn't here. You saw the vision last year, and you've made it a bit better. And I know Colin because he's worked so hard. I've done my bit.
Let's see me.
And he showed initiative.
Give us two of them right.
He showed initiative, doing some flyers and printing the program. So, I mean, sometimes, can we finish hard, please? Can we finish hard? Sometimes it's good to have people that don't have to say to the stuff, they take the initiative and do it. So, most of you are on our mail list. If you're not on our mail list, please make sure you are. That's the only way we can keep in touch. I want to pay respect to Lorna G, who's over there, part of the reggae fraternity, and all the other musicians I don't know. Thanks for coming. Make sure you're on our mail list and we can keep in touch. On that note, I officially want to end International Reggae Day in London now, and we'll be going on July the 3rd, and the city on July 20th. It's all on bbm.eventbrite.com. We post all our events on bbm.eventbrite.com. Thank you!